Hi, welcome to Green TV. It's the show dedicated to green, positive solutions and the third party and independent candidates that advocate for them. I'm Gail Parker, your host, and we have with us today retired Navy Captain Ron Fisher, 8th District Chair of the Independent Greens of Virginia, and Mr. Carey Campbell, former Chair of the Independent Greens of Virginia and co-founder. Captain Fisher is a former General Assembly candidate for delegate from the 49th District and former candidate for U.S. Congress from Virginia's 8th Congressional District. Captain Fisher is an honors graduate and is of the U.S. Naval Academy. He has a master's degree in business management, and Captain Fisher has had a long and distinguished career in the Navy. He's served on nuclear attack and ballistic missile submarines and destroyers. And Captain Fisher is now the power behind peoplenow.org, a universal movement and strategic plan for a peaceful, prosperous, just, and sustainable world. Mr. Campbell is an Air Force veteran and co-founder of the Independent Greens of Virginia. Welcome to both of you, and thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having us.
Great to be here, Gail. Thank you.
Mr. Campbell, the Independent Greens, what are the Independent Greens, how are they different from other parties?
Well, the Independent Green Party of Virginia is really Virginia's third largest party. It is the most active third party on the ballot in Virginia, according to Ballot Access News, in 100 years. And of course, again, this year in 2014, the Independent Green Party of Virginia has a full slate of congressional candidates in all 11 districts. And I guess I could start to run through them quickly. You've heard of this person, Gail Parker, on in the 1st Congressional District. John W. Smith on in the 2nd District. Justin Galdino on in the 3rd District. Colonel Albert Burkhart is our candidate in the 4th District. Dr. Ken Hildebrand, and we think this is historic, on in the 5th District, and at the same time, or concurrently, his wife, Elaine Hildebrand, on in the 6th Congressional District. Tariq Salahi, our Independent Green Party candidate in the 7th. Jerry Blay on in the 8th Congressional District for the Independent Green Party. He is part, of course, of a mother-son team. Another, we think, historic first in Virginia for a mother-son team to be on the ballot at the same time in 2 different districts. So Jerry's on in the 8th. Barbara Hall is our Independent Green Party candidate down in the 9th. And, of course, Jerry's mom is Diane Blay, and Diane on in the 10th District. And Dr. Joe Galdo in the 11th Congressional District, the Green Party candidate, our endorsee there in the 11th District. So I think that's kind of a long-winded open about what the Independent Green Party is for. More candidates, less apathy. That illustrates what we're all about, encouraging people to get off the couch and get on the ballot and get in the public debate, to participate. We always say that participating is winning. If you're part of the process and offering positive solutions, then you win, the community wins. Our process is ennobled. So our mission statement as Independent Green Party folks is to excite, invite, and empower our neighbors to participate in the political process. And then, of course, more trains, less traffic. I don't know if, how quick I can hold that up, but we're dedicated to building rail and saving lives. More trains, less traffic, because rail saves lives, grows jobs. And finally, fiscally conservative and socially responsible. That means balanced budgets, balancing the federal budget, paying off the federal debt, cutting taxpayer-funded subsidies to zero for oil, auto, asphalt, cement, is one of the ways that we start to do that. But I don't want to dominate the conversation. You may want to bring Captain Fisher in.
Well, Captain Fisher, you have also run for office as an Independent Green. What brought you to the Independent Green Party as opposed to one of the larger parties?
Well, it was a very disappointing talk with the two parties. It's just unbelievably what we're having to put up with today, and you can see that in the numbers. The confidence in almost all the government is way low, and particularly in Congress and the people that are there. And so I just feel like we have to do something about this. We're fighting these wars. They're putting up money for wars, and we have a police state almost with an NSA and spying on the people. So, and it's item after item just can't keep up with all the horror stories that are going on with the government.
And do the two of you see these alternative energies as an alternative to war for oil?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes. Well, it's almost perfect. We've got 3 million or so people working in the Pentagon, and we could turn those people around and be working on high-speed rail, transit systems, our alternative energy sources. One of the things I push is building affordable housing on land with, go ahead, put the solar panels on them and use the modern construction techniques. The big problem, of course, in the alternative of housing is the land is usually very expensive, especially near cities. So we could, a lot of extra land that we don't need the military for. And the people working on this with WPAs, all kinds of things we can do.
What Captain Fisher's talking about there really is what the Independent Green Party and the Green Party's Green New Deal all across the country and around the world is showing that eco for the economy means jobs, solar jobs, wind jobs, geothermal jobs, rail jobs, and that means money, that means profits. The Redskins know that. That's why they put the solar panels on their stadium, as did the Seattle Seahawks, the Philadelphia Eagles. Solar is a money winner. And just a personal story, as you well know, Captain Fisher, my house in North Springfield has 51 solar panels, geothermal heating and cooling, and it is a plus house. A plus house, of course, means that your house is producing more energy than it consumes. And actually, I just got this in the mail today. This is a check for the production this month on the house.
You mean
so I
they
get
pay you
they pay
instead
me.
of you paying them?
Isn't that lovely? Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Very nice.
Well, tell me, why should a candidate run as an independent green?
Well, independent means that you do think for yourself. And the Greens, of course, have been known throughout the world for being against the wars, being for environment, and just everything. I think most of the people really, if we could get to them and understand it, would have to be for the Greens compared to the people we have now. And it was just a great idea. I really appreciate the fact that Carey came up, and you, Gail, and the other people that have helped start it, Joe Otto, have done this. This is wonderful.
Well, what we want to say, really, to anybody who's watching, is we have elections in Virginia every year. Of course, the congressional elections are this year in 2014 in November. We're already looking ahead to 2015, and if you're watching, please call me, 703-351-1235. That's 703-351-1235. The Independent Green Party would love to work with you as a candidate for next year. 2015 is going to be huge. We have local elections for County Board of Supervisors in Arlington, in Fairfax, in Loudoun, all across the state of Virginia. And then there's the big state elections in 2015, House of Delegates, and the state Senate. Be optimistic. The Washington Post reports today that the Independent Green Party leaders, Tammy Prada and Floyd Bain, you both remember Floyd Bain was the Independent Green Party candidate for Congress in the 7th Congressional District in 2010. He ran again in 2012, and both times the Independent Green Party's Tammy Prada managed the campaign. Well, according to the Post today, it was the strategy of Tammy Prada the campaign strategy and the structure that helped the new nominee there for one of the larger parties, Mr. Bratt, Professor Bratt, helped him to be the nominee and helped to lead to the defeat of the incumbent Cantor.
So what you're saying is that by being a candidate, you can have an impact even if you don't get elected? Is that what you're saying?
It's exactly
Absolutely.
in the debate defines the debate.
Certainly,
Okay.
certainly.
Well, what do you say? A lot of people say that independent and third-party candidates cannot be elected. What do you say to those people?
Well, of course, I say, remember Jesse Ventura being elected to governor in Minnesota, or Bernie Sanders, who is the U.S. Senator from Vermont, elected as an independent, and perhaps many people are talking about him running as the Green Party candidate for president in 2016. Those are, and of course, Mike Bloomberg, a friend of the Independent Green Party in Virginia, the man who the Independent Green Party put on the ballot for president in 2008. Mike Bloomberg was, of course, elected as an independent 3 times in New York City as mayor, and all across Virginia. We have had folks elected in Fredericksburg to city council. Remember Tom Moss, the year that he ran as the Independent Green Party's nominee for treasurer. Tom Moss was when he was a member of one of the 2 larger parties, was the longest serving Speaker of the House of Delegates in Virginia history. And thanks to our 4th Congressional District Chairman, Albert Burkhart, who's Tom's cousin, when Tom wanted to run again, he reached out to us and ran as an Independent Green Party candidate and was reelected. So there are many examples of Independent Green Party candidates elected in Virginia and elected elsewhere. Who have I forgotten?
Well, I think you've covered just about everybody, but I wanted to mention that also by running, you also really learn a lot. I learned a tremendous amount about the voters, about what's going on in the country. And also made some really good statements. I believe I won most of my debates. I didn't, it was just almost impossible to win because of the popularity of my opponent, but I learned a heck of a lot about what needs to be done and what and also about what's going on in the world. And
I see. Well, the Independent Greens, are you associated with the Green Party, the National Green Party?
Well, the Independent Green Party, in my opinion, is a broader-based state party that includes, as you well know, every time the Greens and the other Greens in the states have run a candidate, and they usually run one a year, we have endorsed that candidate and stood aside from our own candidates. Of course, we, as mentioned here, running a full slate again this year, we are broader and more inclusive. And of course, the Independent Green Party of Virginia includes liberal progressives like Captain Ron Fisher, conservatives, conservative Greens like myself, and everybody in between. So it's a bigger and broader tent. Yet I think that the Patrick Kelly, who founded the Green Party originally, had it right. Not left, not right, describing the Green Party, but out in front. And so that's what I think the Green Party has tried to do. Ron, what would you add?
well, I agree with that. The fact that we are small, we've got a lot of candidates, but you don't have a lot of people telling you, hey, here's what you have to do or anything. So I've enjoyed every minute of being part of this organization. Several years here now. Thank you.
And so you have, the Independent Greens have a full slate of candidates that they're supporting in this year's election. What about the future? Where does the Green Party go next?
Well,
The Indie Greens.
Well, what I've really looked at here, the country has some horrendous problems. These wars are absolutely illegal. We've really got to end those, and we've got to get going. So I think we really need to push a common agenda and not non-hierarchical, not having anybody tell you, hey, here's what you have to do, but really get to the core of these problems. There's plenty of money, plenty of resources. With technology today, it's a crime for any kid to go to bed hungry in the world. And we have 3 million school children homeless in the country today. A million homeless, despite the fact that we have every year we have billionaires. We have this tremendous wealth inequity, where the basically with the help of the Supreme Court here, they can buy these elections. But obviously, if we have really good candidates, they won't be able to buy the elections. And we need to do, but we have a lot of work to do, and I think it's a great place to work. So please sign up and run for Congress next year.
One of the things I love about Captain Ron Fisher of the Independent Green Party, to hear him say one of his favorite phrases is "Do not despair." And so the Independent Green Party's job, it seems to me, is to stay optimistic and provide a positive vision forward to these issues and challenges that Captain Fisher described are opportunities for the Independent Green Party to come out here with We the People Now has a very detailed map of solutions that can solve these problems, and it's the Independent Green Party's job, I think, for us to find new candidates, and we want you, if you're watching, we want you to join the Independent Green Party and run as a candidate for local or state office in 2015. Once again, my phone number is 703-351-1235, or you can go to the Independent Green Party's website. That's votejoinrun.us. Of course, just Google Independent Green Party to find us, to reach out to us. And also you can enjoy our Independent Greens YouTube channel, where you can see Captain Ron Fisher saying we need more trains, less traffic, and praising candidates like Janet Murphy and so many others that we've worked with. So our job and our vision, the Independent Green Party's job and vision, I think, is to provide solutions like WeThePeopleNow.org. Am I getting the website?
Well, I mean, certainly down. PeopleNow.org. Either one will reach the website. But we have what I call the table of priority actions of jobs for everybody. We absolutely can afford this. Of course, what produces, they'll pay more taxes or whatever. Jobs for everybody, and we need to solve the wealth equity. We could have, for example, a property tax, net assets property tax.
I know there's a lot of discussion about some of these ideas, and there's also a lot of discussion about the debt. So with the Independent Greens being inclusive, does everybody agree on everything within the Independent Green Party?
No. Not by a long
No. I didn't. I say that. I'm not asking anybody to endorse this. Just look at it and think about it. But I have had a lot of people feed information into it, and we don't have all the answers. We get more, but we don't need an endorsement. I call it non-hierarchy. There's no sacred rulers, and non-partisan. Obviously, we got to get a lot of people out there that are working on this all over the world. We're just not working together. The idea here is to try to get us working together a little bit better.
Work together.
I think where the Independent Green Party candidates certainly all agree, there are some fundamentals that if you see an Independent Green Party candidate, this is what they're going to be for. More trains, less traffic, first and foremost. Right. And more candidates, more Independent Green Party candidates.
You mean to say you believe that just by having more candidates, there could be a change in the process?
Well, we've seen it. We've seen it, and the proof is Virginia Rail Express is better than it ever was. We've had candidates advocating for that across 2 decades, 3 decades. And rail ridership is at its highest in the history of America. Metro Rail now is in its 4th year of profits. We are almost ready here, a month or 2 away perhaps, to opening the first phase of Rail to Dulles. How many meetings did we go to across 20, 30 years to work with the community, work with folks out there, office holders? As you well know, Gail, we've both been the chair of transportation committees and budget committees and planning committees and land use committees. All of this is engagement, and that engagement, what's the phrase, Ron, is a positive thing. the arc of the universe bends
towards justice.
Justice, okay. It's time now for us to go to a candidate spotlight. It's an independent Green candidate, Diane Blay, who has successfully gotten on the ballot for Virginia's 10th Congressional District. Diane, let's hear from you.
Hi, I'm Diane Blay, the independent Green candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives in Virginia's 10th District. I've been a volunteer in many organizations and a businesswoman, a mother of 4 and a foster mother to over 100 children. Last year, I became a grandmother. I'm running for 2 main reasons: how the federal budget is spent and how elections are run in our country. It may seem right off that how elections are run in our country is insignificant compared to the importance of the federal budget. But I believe how elections are run currently has many long-standing negative effects. 3 areas need change: the money in politics, gerrymandering, and term limits. Politicians, at least those who are voted into office, are government workers and should accept no big money donations. I am running my campaign without accepting any money. Every corporate donation is basically a bribe, and although politicians say they are not swayed by these donations, consciously or subconsciously, they are. The effects of these bribes are seen in many bills that harm our people, especially our children. Legislators choosing the shape of their districts is a problem that many think is responsible for the partisan, dysfunctional Congress. Gerrymandering needs to be eliminated. And the last point about elections in the U.S. Congress, indeed even the state government, we need term limits. We want experienced people in Congress, but Congress was not meant to be a full-time job for life. The independent Greens preach more trains, less traffic. We need to remove the barrier at the federal level that prevents the building of rail. The current policies say to municipal and state governments, if you build roads, the federal taxpayers will pay 80%. If you build rail, the federal taxpayers will pay 20%. The playing field should be leveled so that our municipal governments and state governments can solve transportation issues with mass transit. Rail returns $25 to the community for every $1 invested. Rail will make us safer, help us to have cleaner air and cleaner water. We will create new green jobs and reduce the debt by building rail. We need more trains, less traffic. We need to cut military spending and put that money into our people, our infrastructure, and paying off the national debt. The federal debt, now at $17.5 trillion, makes the interest payment on that debt the 3rd largest expense in the federal budget. The largest expense is the military. We are at peace. There is no reason that over half of the federal budget should be spent on defense. The incarceration rate in the United States of America is the highest in the world. While the United States represents about 5% of the world's population, it houses about 25% of the world's prisoners. We need to decrease our prison population and let nonviolent drug offenders support and be with their families. We can grow the economy, create new eco-jobs, cut dependence on foreign oil, balance the budget, and eventually pay off the federal debt. We live in a great country, but if elected, I, Diane Blay, will work unceasingly to make it even better. Thank you.
Thank you both very much for being here today. It was a pleasure to have you on and to find out more about who the Independent Green Party is and who the Independent Greens are. Thank you so very much, Captain Fisher, for being here.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Love you.
Enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Gail for Rep Parker, thank you.
Thank you very much.